Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final match of Round 1 Swiss between two veterans of tourney in metallica5167 and Mageius. I'm Game for Draco, joined by my longtime friend and rival in the game, and Mikey Burger. And
Hello.
we're kind of have a lot of veterans here on this match, it seems, on both commentary and in playing.
Yeah, hello everybody. I hope you're all having a good day. It's nice to be doing commentary again after such a while. So yeah, this is looking forward to seeing the conclusion of round one of the Swiss for this year. Yeah, Metallica being a player who has been in every tournament and side tournament since this community has existed, really, in 2018, 2019, I think. So
Yeah, 2019 was the first one for the 20th anniversary.
yeah, Metallica looking pretty good in his warm-up practice. So I'm sort of interested to see if he's made any progress, done any work since last year's event.
Yeah, he came in, I think, 4th or 5th last year, and so
He's certainly capable of a high place finish in any tournament. And
sure.
Mageius has improved as well, actually, since his first tournament.
Yeah. Here we go. I think we're now officially starting the scene. Mageius start, and now here's Metallica starting. Doing this cutscene manip on Spice Mine Run because it gets the dozer into a better position on the final lap. And oh, there we go. This is going to be about, I see, about 25 seconds. About 25 seconds.
Yeah, looks like Mageius hasn't done a huge amount of study on the game with his routing here for this track.
No. But yeah.
I think he's more of a casual runner for this game.
He is. Yes, and so we're going to see. Okay. Now we see from the syncing we have Metallica in a commanding lead. Yeah.
It looks like both players are using keyboard. I know Metallica does, but it looks like Mageius is as well, based on how he's turning.
He just usually tends to run into controller issues, so he usually tends to fix things on the go with his setup.
Yeah, I think he's used different controllers, actually. He looks like he's struggling a bit today with just having a bit of control here.
Yeah, he's used a wide variety of controllers over the years. He's used a Switch controller. He started out in the first tournaments in 2019 and 2020 using an SNES controller. Very odd choice, considering that controller is about 8 years older than the game itself. Super Nintendo came out in 91, and the game came out in 99. And we have Metallica in such a commanding lead. Are we gonna see Metallica lap Mage?
It's possible. We'll have to see what pace he's on for his second lap here coming up.
Yeah.
Looks like he underheated a little bit coming out of Market's section. 14. 114 is a very nice.
It's a really solid number. And yeah. There it is. Dozer's in a much better spot because of that cutscene manip. Now we're gonna see Metallica
Yeah, no big problems there. Utilizing the fast terrain well.
For sure.
I think my advice to sort of new runners to this game is just dial back on the speed a little bit and just try and get around the track in one piece. I think that's probably a better strategy for when you start with this game. Just to you can build up your speed gradually with practice.
Yeah, I agree. It's something I even encourage newer runners of the game too, because oh my god, there is. Yep, and Metallica just laps Mageius just before the final lap close with a 2:3:42.
Yeah, very nice time. And
So
very nice final lap as well. 1:12 is a decent lap time for anybody.
yeah, for sure. Mageius taking the scenic route. Yikes! Well, usually I don't see people get crashed in the dozer in that fashion.
It was like the Dozer was just trolling Magis there.
Kind of, yeah. For real. Didn't even think of it that way, but it kind of seems about right. Yikes. So,
Yeah, I think Magis is a little bit afraid to let off the gas occasionally in some of these corners.
yeah.
Doesn't really appear to be using the slide function very much.
No. And slide's a very critical function in this game.
Yeah, it allows you to make the distance through corners a lot shorter and take some high-speed turns a lot faster than you would otherwise be able to do, which is
Yeah,
definitely an advantage in this game.
it's a definite advantage. And here we go. Media's coming in with a 5:40, almost a full minute behind Metallica.
I wonder if we have any stats from Magis' personal bests in tournament. But yeah, the next race will be Magis's pick in his track pool. The loser of the previous track is the one who picks the conditions for the next race.
Yep, and we are going to the Gauntlet without Ben. So this is the longest track in the game by distance, second longest by time, and it's going to be even made longer because the fastest pod for this track, and in most tracks in this game, Ben Quarnero's being banned. I
Yeah,
suspect we're going to see Bull's Roar from. Looks like we're seeing Bulls from Mageius, but I'm pretty sure Metallica's going to go for Bull's Roar too. It's the obvious pick here with Ben banned.
yeah. Magis has a history of picking very long tracks in tournament. He
It's usually the longest and/or hardest tracks in the game. Particularly if it's long and hard, odds are Mageius will pick it.
I mean, it might be more interesting to see him go with something like a short track.
Yeah.
That's an interesting route.
Yep.
Hopefully, he won't do that in the race.
Yeah. And there you see Mageius as another classic things, tweaking the controllers mid-match. Very So very much one of his signatures since he did it the very first inaugural tourney back in 2019.
Yeah, it's interesting actually because he's changing his sensitivity, which suggests he is using some form of controller.
Yeah.
But he's not really making turns like you would on like an analog controller. So
Yeah.
I wonder why he's doing that actually.
I don't know either. Always something. He's just a really perplexing and enigmatic player over the years.
I think he plays a lot of other games
He plays
as well.
a lot of other games too, yes. He's not a specialist in this game like a lot of other players are.
Well, they've both gone bowls, which is good to see.
Yeah.
Just finishing up their warm-ups here. So after the previous race, without skips, there's a 2.5 minute warm-up
Warm-up
period.
timer.
Players can change their pod settings for a particular track and just have a little bit of a practice.
.147. That's actually quite solid with bowls.
I think Gauntlet's quite a popular track. I think a lot of people would agree that it's quite a nice track.
It is, but it's also really popular for the wall ride skip that you found back in the day, and I used, and I helped this, and I found made public back in the day. I still remember that, and this track has always been a little kooky with, and we are, I think, off on the actual race. So we are at it looks like we have a 7-second. Yeah, 7-second, and yeah, 7-second. Yeah, 7-second lead in favor of Metallica.
Yeah, nice technique from Metallica there on the jump. Just using that a little bit of boost just before, just to get enough speed, just to clear that initial hump, so that he can get a nice boost into the air.
He's really taking the scenic route.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a bit confused actually.
Yeah.
I think he's got a little bit lost here.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a strange section because you've got some terrain that you can drive on at normal speed there that's actually off the track, but he has done the classic thing of running out of boost. He shouldn't underheat if he boosts here, but I think he's already lost quite a significant amount of time, unfortunately, from that previous mistake.
It crashes right into the rock. And now we're approaching the part of the track that is infamous, particularly on skip rungs in this tube. If you're at a really high frame rate, you can get stuck in the rocks, and we call it the soft rock.
Yeah, and Bowles with his low traction, any pod with low traction is quite unstable in those Uvo tubes.
143 for Metallica. That's really fast for Bowles.
Yeah, that's a nice time. Metallica is always very consistent in tournament. He never takes unnecessary risks. Very calculated player.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very much a risk-averse player. Oh, good. I thought Mageius was going to get soft-blocked at first.
Yeah, we don't want to see any of that.
It's a new lap record.
And Bowles is just a really hard pod to use in general, just because he's so fast and greasy.
Yeah, I think referring to him as Bad Ben is quite a good analogy for his pod characteristics. It's always kind of, it can throw you off a little bit if you've been playing with Ben. You suddenly go to Bowles because the boost timings are just ever so slightly different. His boost is slightly shorter and slower, which means that you don't cover the same distance as you do with Ben, which means you have to plan that quite carefully, especially on like the last laps where you can potentially lose time in the last sections.
Yeah. Ooh, and the other pod that we have this relationship with is that we also have, for the two tracks that Ben is not the fastest on, in Gravine Gateway and Fire Mountain Rally, fastest pod for those tracks is Bullseye Navoir. And if Bullseye is out of the picture, they tend to resort to Neva Key, who's just basically a bad Bullseye.
Yeah, with the exception of his ridiculous acceleration
I
stat.
agree. Yeah. Yeah, his accelerate. Ooh!
Mageius doing some interesting things there on the bowl.
Yeah. First he falls into the bowl on lap 1, and then he falls.
Yeah, commonly referred to as the toilet bowl.
Yeah, the toilet bowl, yep. And here we go, we see Metallica entering the toilet bowl for the final time. Gee, this looks like it's going to be a very fast bowls time for Metallica here.
Yeah, I would expect something around like a 508 maybe for 509, something like that, perhaps for Metallica.
Something like that. Let's see how he gets out of the tube. This is a really scary tube with bowls. He does it. Looking like you're right on the pick of about 506, 507. 507.92.
Yeah, nice time.
So that is a really solid time for bowls. 507.923.
I think it's funny in that Magno tube, which doesn't allow you to tilt your pod in either direction, and you can kind of, if you hit the wrong angle, you can kind of ricochet off the side of the walls, which can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah. The ricocheting can't be doing it, and there's also another tube like that on Executioner, but it's usually skipped in full track runs in the settings that we have the tournament playing in. Though you'll use it a lot more often with pods that have a shorter boost duration and/or are heat up and/or do not have a high boost thrust top speed, because that's an extra anti-gravity tube. Are we gonna see? I thought for a second Mageius was gonna do the bowl twice. No, don't. Oh, good. Repairing. I was about to say, don't boost in the warning, or you'll blow up.
Yeah, one of the mistakes Magis made in that turn was tilting while turning. This game, when you're not boosting, if you tilt while you turn in any direction, it hampers your max turn rate for the pod.
Ooh! Yeah, it does hamper your max turn rate per pod, but when boosting, tilting's negative turning effect is negated, and it's the same as if you're boosting, if you're just turning while boosting or tilting while boosting. And Mageius coming in a full 2 minutes behind with a 7:09.
It's a new lap record.
He did get faster with every lap, though.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I don't know if that's actually his PB, but that would be a good result if that is.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to Indo Prime Centrum next. Ben Band. So odds are we're going to be seeing bowls again. Certainly from Metallica, it looks like.
Yeah, so this is, again, Mageius' pick. It is possible, because of the nature of this track, that he goes for a pod that has slightly better cornering abilities. Particularly, I'm thinking in regards to the hairpin on this track.
Yeah. And there's more path options on this track than any other track in the game. You can go, and this is the section. You're seeing the fastest route by Metallica. And yeah, you can go through that bridge. We found out that there's no collision for that bridge pillar if you go above the ground.
It's one of the quirky things about this game.
And the invitational tracks that we just seen, like Gauntlet, Indo Prime Centrum, and the other two of the circuit in Inferno and Abyss, they're just super glitchy. Like, you could tell, like, the people programming this game put most of their effort into the amateur, semi-pro, and galactic circuit tracks, and then kinda went home or just did the invitational circuit with just a basic afterthought or something like that. I wouldn't call it an afterthought because the programmers worked their butts off for this. But it's kind of funny how that happened.
Yeah, it's almost like they got bored and said, well, we've put all this effort in, we haven't got the energy to do any more tracks.
Yeah. But they did have some kind of sense of speed running with this because it's for some reason, because they made it so that the final track of the game you unlock in Inferno happens to have Ben behind it. So therefore, you have to wait until the very end of the game to unlock Ben, the fastest pod in the game. Are we on the actual start? Nope, we're not quite yet. Oh, the countdown is incoming, so... Oh, here we go, we see... Mage doing his classic restart, and I think Metallica is on the go. I think this is Metallica's genuine run. And
yeah. He looks pretty relaxed right now about his race.
Yeah. I think, here we go. We're starting. I think he's, Are you doing, Mage? So are you gonna start, or just... Don't wanna. There we go. And Mageius is off with a 40-second delay. Oh, I think here comes Metallica sensed it too. I think they didn't get the countdown just yet. Here we go. This looks like a real start. And here we go. We have about a 20-second stink.
Yeah, Mageius was off to a good start there. Unfortunately, he got some damage on his right engine, which means that he was unable to turn left in that corner, which is why he crashed.
Yeah, it's a pretty... That's a little precarious there, Metallica.
Yeah, he went very wide, actually, through that section.
Really wide, yeah. I was afraid he was going to hit the top of the bridge, which does have collision.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
And Metallica is coming in with a... Well, this is going to be really fast for Bowles. 54 seconds is certainly solid with Bowles. And...
Yeah, it looks like Mageius has done a little bit more study of this track. He seems to know where he's going on this one, and
yeah.
He managed the first section actually quite well.
Oh, he's taking the... Jeez, he was really trying to hold the boost there. That's an odd path, that first check between the snow path and the paved path, because at lower skill levels, it's fastest to take the paved path, and then at really high level, it's also optimal to take the paved path. But in the middle of those skill levels, it actually is better to take the snow path on the first lap. 53, that's just under 54 seconds. That's really solid for bulls on this track. Whoa! I don't usually see that often.
Yeah, that's that's a first. I think I've not seen that before either.
And
There's a better line from Metallica in that last
yeah.
jump.
Whoa! Very hard to do with bulls because he's much lower in traction, so he does bump it a bit more than Ben.
Yeah, Mageius held the boost through that section that time.
Yeah.
Which is
242. That's pretty solid for bulls. We're on to match point of the final round 1 Swiss.
yeah. This is a first to 4 match.
Yeah.
Metallica is good at this track. I seem to recall before in a previous match he played this one and did pretty well.
Yeah. Ooh.
I imagine that it's probably one of the hardest racing games to kind of get good at.
I would say so. It's a very unique one because, unlike almost every other racing game, you do not lose momentum while turning in Episode 1 Racer.
Yeah, I think also for most players it takes them a long time just to get to the stage where they can complete tracks without being killed.
Yeah, really.
I mean, apart from the sheer pace, there's also the types of corners and collision in unexpected places and gravitational effects, which really makes it hard to get any control over what you're doing.
For sure. And we are going to, and for Mageius' final pick and match point for Metallica, we're going to Executioner. No Ben.
I wonder why Mageius is banning just Ben on every track. I mean, he could have tried something like he could use his force points to ban additional pods and force or allow skips on some of the tracks, which might be an interesting thing to try against Metallica.
I know Mageius is not much of a skips person, so that's probably why it's doing it that way, because and we see, and now we see from Mageius a curve filter.
I think I'm agreeing with you though, Draco, that he should probably be using a lower sensitivity than he is. It looks like that is actually isn't helping him.
Yeah. Bowles is just a really hard to respond to pod when you're turning with anyway, because of his low traction and turn response. He just tries to plows ahead in a straight line. He's just he's a very much even more of a dragster than Ben is.
Yeah, there's not very much margin for error with his pod when you're making turns. You have to get it right, really. If you have to try and like make an adjustment mid corner, it often doesn't go very well with bowls, particularly if you're sliding as well.
Yeah. And Bowles has the worst tracks in the game, along with Vito, Elon Mack, and Arc Bumpy Reese.
It's good for Manister tracks, though.
Yeah, but he still has no but his turners, but the traction and turner spot just makes him just slide like really greasy. He's just like really greasy handling. He's stiff and greasy, which is not a good combination. And I think we are. Yeah, the countdown has started, and I think we are. I'm not so sure who's starting off. Wonder if Metallica. I think this is Mageius' actual start. Let's see if Metallica gets it. Yep, here he goes. He catches it.
Yeah, and this is once again match point for Metallica. So Magis really needs a win here if he wants to stay in this.
Yeah. And here we go. I think we have about. Looks like an 18-second delay. You just started, I think, 18 seconds. Okay. Let's see. Now you see. Oh, Metallica looked like he's struggling a little bit with bowls, playing a little bit more safer. Here we go. Jump into this.
I always like to see the other path on this track. I think it's it looks nice the other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh. This.
Yeah, dropping straight into that tube is a bit like playing Russian roulette. Really, it's pretty risky. Probably not the best idea in tournaments.
Yeah. It's where I like to remark it's where the track earns its name of Executioner.
Yeah, the better method, the more consistent method, is to ride the wall on the right, so you can tilt and ride that wall, and then jump into the tube, which avoids the lip of the tube as you jump in, which is what usually kills you there.
Yeah. I know I did it differently on the 64 because of how you just spin in the tubes with tilting in them. I just tried to avoid that as much as possible, and I would boost up to the red zone, then slam on the brakes as I was gaining ready for the tube drop and just hug the bottom of the tube. But that's specifically low frame stress that I did to on 64. Whoa!
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense actually, given, like you say, you're playing at low FPS. Yeah, the tubes on this track are pretty dangerous.
They are really dangerous. Not the tube at the very end that Metallica's in. That's actually the easy tube, but you still have to be very careful if you're boosting through it because it's you'll be wasting boost if you take advantage. Oh, 117. Geez, what happened to Metallica there? Did he lose his grip? He still didn't crash, fortunately.
That was a strange
What happened
problem.
there?
It was almost like it looked a bit like he got his finger stuck on the gas or something. It's like
Possibly, yeah.
Let go of boost too late.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't control your speed in between your non-boosting top speed and basically your top speed because of the high acceleration. You don't actually have any control of your speed in that region. So if you're going too fast, you just can't take some of the corners.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, maybe
Metallica.
that was it. maybe he thought he was on lap 3 and just perhaps a little bit fallen asleep there. Just wasn't paying attention to what lap he was on. Yeah, that
Possibly.
could be right there.
It's a new lap record.
Yeah. Here we go. I think there's gonna be guessing it's gonna be 357.
Yeah, Metallica showing how to use his heat effectively through this last section. It looks like he's going to...
358.02. Gain under 4 minutes is really solid with bowls.
Yeah, it's a shame really he lost that time just from that strange incident at the end of lap 2. Otherwise, that'd been a very good bowls time.
Easily, yeah. That was really strange. Whoa! This is why I always say that's the risk you take when you go full boost straight into the tube.
Yeah, I think that death is just caused by deceleration, I think.
Yeah. Right into the door. Oh, taking a scenic path and crashes.
Yeah, not only is it harder, it's also longer, this path. But
Yeah.
it's more interesting. They're probably good, actually, for like practicing your turning.
$5.29. And that concludes Swiss Bracket Round 1.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who everyone gets paired up with in round 2 now.
Yeah, I just punched it in on challenge so I can actually see that.
Ah, so you'll be able to make an announcement, I guess.
Yep.
Awesome. We're just waiting on Mageius to see if he would like to join us for this post-match interview.
Hey, Metallica, or just waiting on Mage? Hey, Mage!
Hey, as I've said before, I'll say it again. I'm still out of practice, but hey, at least I did remember some things.
Yeah. I think that kind of happened there to Metallica.
Yeah,
So
so
sorry-
guys, how are you feeling about the match?
I should say, sorry about going out of bounds to some degree during, I think it was Andor.
Yeah.
Never knew that one existed.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Hey, how many things have I found here and there just by accident? I think it's been at least a few things on that particular course.
I seem to recall you did something unusual at Sebulba's Legacy in 1 year.
I know I did one there. I think I did one there. I think I did one on... I know there's a clip somewhere of me legitimately going through the ceiling on Andor, beforehand earlier on that one, and now I found a way to legitimately clip through the... Well, someone's probably highlighted that one, and if not, I'll go back and look up the clip and post it in the Discord of sliding through one of the walls from the shortcut over to the main, non-shortcut, but technically if a good angle, that might actually be good if you've got a full amount of boost. Probably not, but hey.
What happened. Yeah, it was pretty interesting to see, because you're now the final Swiss bracket, and we're now moving into round 2.
Yeah. Also, hope everybody liked my layout design.
The curve?
Yes.
Oh yes, I noticed that.
What's
Looks
with the
nice.
curve? I just noticed it.
A bunch of filters. But it's because I do a lot more, speedrunning games for, like, mech games and that kind of stuff where you're, like, more in a 3D environment, so similar to Racer, but yet, having to deal with the, some of the stuff, if that makes sense, for at least controlling momentum.
Yeah.
And I decided a while back when it was like, screw it, I'll make up a new, layout. I decided to just do, like, okay, I'll just make it look like the viewer is sitting in the cockpit. And it's like curved screen, that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, close your eyes for a second and imagine you were sitting in, like, a sort of like Mac thing. Would you want this the straight, like, here's window, here's this, or would you want to actually have the ability to look around and actually be able to control things? I don't know about you, but I'm like, yeah, I'd rather be able to actually, use my whole peripheral vision to be able to see where something is coming. On top of moving the head.
The game must look crazy fast on that.
Considering I'm not using OBS, it's just like, I'm using a standard thing, it looks good on my end. I think the viewers sort of do like, the style of it, just like, there's a lot of little things you can try with that one. And hell, I still need to actually reverse that and pass the idea I've got for a more arcade style for some of the more retro, gamers I know that actually do speedrun, a lot of the old school arcade games to give, the viewers that whole idea of you're looking at an actual arcade screen.
Oh, like a typical, like, classical tube TV kind of filter?
Yeah, like, sort of like, when it's like you're, that style of thing. It's like, I mean, there's ways to do some interesting stuff in OBS. I'm not surprised more speedrunners haven't actually experimented with it, or at least from what I've seen. Because you can do some interesting styles and make, viewers enjoy it.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad. We tried to make it fun this year.
Yeah. As I said before, and I'll say it again, I know I'm not the best, but at the same point, I do enjoy doing these things. That's why I always try to recommend people to check out Racer, because it's a fun old game.
It's always great having you in tournament, Mageius.
Hey, I will say, if, depending on the Swiss round, depending on how I'm doing, and depending on how long it would take me to actually set it up to do that one, I will, because I actually have access to a Switch 2, and if they make it actually workable, I will stream at least one race from it, just because the game was originally one of the games that did not work for it. That's if it is fixed to work.
So you're gonna test it for us, I'm guessing.
Oh hey, if they get it to work, it's more of a, like, I mean, pardon the language here, if they actually include, twin mouse mode or some of the more interesting things, I think that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Give that old school. Either of you, all three of you, ever remember the old actual Episode 1 Racer arcade game?
Oh yeah, very clunky compared to the console and PC version.
Yeah, but at the same point, if you had, like, hybrid style, like, y'all know how motion controls actually do help this game out. I believe it's like, it does get a benefit from actually using the gyro for the Switch version of actually being able to, boost around corners or something? I remember saying something on it.
I remember hearing about that too.
But no, as someone who does more action games and has thought about doing stuff like that, I have to say, in those more type of games, even without just the camera control, like when you actually do have full camera control, it makes it even more. But it's like, it's the fact that you get the ability to actually do a bit more of that controlling how your things move a bit more, if that makes sense.
For sure.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
gotta switch, take off the Joy-Cons, put it down like how it's supposed to be, and just imagine, like, controlling your racer on that one and see how it would feel.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty cool actually seeing this game in 3D.
It's a cool thing on that one. I mean, the game's the game, and it's fun. That is one
Yep.
thing. Hopefully the viewers enjoyed, the actual race. And I'll go look through and see if I can clip that one thing later on for all y'all. But if that's everything, I gotta go get through my backlog of Twitch VODs to shove that over to YouTube. Thanks, Twitch, on limiting the VOD space.
Okay, I think we're good wrapping up. We actually do have the rounds concluded, and we do have the round 2 matches just set up.
Yeah, I know. I've got to set mine up.
Yeah, so the round 2 matches for Swiss as follow are: there's going to be 8 matches, and they're going to be people who won their matches playing against others who won. And the other half of the matches are going to be winners versus winners of round 1, and the other half of round 2 will be playing against players who lost their round 1 versus another who lost their round 1. And set up, we have for the matches Domeray versus Nate Man, Mikey Burger versus Lilac, Keen Bean Dip versus Goofbrush, Metallica versus Homora, Exodip versus Radiant Variant, Ramapula versus Mageius, Blue versus Page, and Balmas versus Cook. So, look forward to seeing you on the next strip on the new next Swiss round. There'll be 3 weeks of epic racing to follow. So, keep in tuned, and then there should be more evenly spaced matches this time. So, take care and good luck, and may the force be with you. And we'll start round 2.
Bye all.
Well.